Well, hello there, and welcome to the very latest episode of my Love Machine podcast. Now, when you're starting dating, or when you've been dating for some time, it's so important that you go into things with absolutely the right mindset. Mindset is so important. And to help me discuss this topic, I've got a very special guest. I've got a lovely lady called Inga, who is a life and a business coach, and she is the host of the Mindset School podcast. And also, she's a neuroscience geek and an entrepreneur. Inga, welcome to my show.
It's a pleasure to be here, James.
Wonderful. It is a delight to have you here. Now, we had a bit of fun before the podcast. I wanted to pronounce your name in the right way, and I can't do it. So can you just tell my listeners what your surname is and tell us a bit about you, please? That would be great.
Yeah, of course. So starting with my surname, so everybody gets that wrong, and I'm so used to this. So hopefully when I'm married, that will change. But I'm still not sure if I'm gonna keep my surname or I'm gonna have double surname. But
oh no,
we'll see how difficult I want to make my life. So my surname is Pakalniskyte, but most of the people can just simply shorten the surname and call me Pakal.
Pakal. You didn't tell me that. I could have done that in a much easier way. So is your partner you're going to marry going to be called Smith or Jones? That'll be.
Well, his surname is Ganup, so we'll see. I haven't made the decision yet whether I'm going to do a double surname or I'm going to keep one, and which one.
You do what you want to do. You have fun with that.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm going to call you Inga, and that is what we're going to go with. So welcome again to my show. So can you just tell my listeners about you? Because you've got your own podcast about mindset. And we connected on a podcast forum, and I thought this lady sounds amazing to get onto my podcast because mindset is so important. Obviously, you know more about it than I do, so I'd love to learn. So what brings you into all this?
Yeah, sure. So getting into the personal development has been a journey and something that I've been really interested since a young age. So to tell you a little bit more about myself, so I am a true entrepreneur in my heart. I'm a 3 times business owner, and why I focus on the mindset so much is that I've seen how much working on my own mindset that changed my life, and that led me into becoming a coach and becoming a life coach. And now purely I'm focusing on life coaching and business coaching for entrepreneurs, as I know that if they want to reach the next step, the next level, either in their personal life or in their business, mindset is the key.
It really is. And also when it comes to dating as well, because
Yes.
if you've got people have very, very limiting beliefs and bad experiences that have made them wary now, particularly in these crazy times at the moment, they're wary of finding a new partner. So having the right mindset is essential. Otherwise, you're going to fail. You're going to end up making bad choices. Do you think that's important when it comes to dating, to have the right mindset?
Absolutely. 100%. Because when you go into dating, I would say it's same as in business. You're going to need to put yourself out there, and you need to present yourself to other people, and you have to accept the fact that you might be rejected. I think it's a 50% chance that if you go on a date, this date will not lead anywhere, or maybe you're not going to have a good experience, or maybe you have the great experience, but still this won't lead anywhere. So having that right mindset, knowing that the rejection is very possible when you come into the dating, and as well having that trust within yourself and self-confidence, put yourself out there. So that mindset is really going to help you just be yourself, just be confident, be present, and enjoy your time.
That's true, but many people do struggle with that. They have low confidence, they have low self-worth, and if you go on lots of bad dates and you do get rejected time and time again, then it's really hard to establish a new pattern of believing in yourself and getting confidence. So what advice would you give somebody who is struggling? Let's start with low self-confidence. Maybe they don't really value themselves, don't see what they have to offer. What would you give them advice-wise?
So I think what is really important is to remind yourself why you're a great person. Because I think when you start to experience that low self-esteem or low self-confidence, we tend to go into the negative pattern and thinking why we're not good enough or why other person might not find us attractive, and start thinking about what is it that I have? Why am I great? Is it fun to hang out with me? Am I funny? Can I make the other person feel confident in their own skin? What is it that I am? What are the qualities that I like about myself, and what other person might find it interesting or attractive? And coming with that thinking, with that mindset, and just having a chat with yourself of those are the great things that I love about myself, and that's how I want to show up. And as well, talking about the confidence, it's really important to remember that when you come on a date, the other person might be feeling exactly the way you feel. So you're both wearing the same shoes, you're both in the same exact place, and you just have to enjoy the moment, enjoy the presence of one another, and just take it easy and just remind yourself why you like yourself.
I agree. I ask all my coaching clients about what they have to offer, because people have got this long list of all the 101 things they want in the ideal partner. They can specify down to the height, to the shoe size, all the strangest things. But then I asked them, I said, but that's great. I said, but what about you? Why would somebody want to date you? And 9 times out of 10, they can't really answer me. They might say to me something like, well, I'm kind, I'm loyal, I'm friendly, but they're just generic statements. And that's not enough. You have to really know who you are, what makes you special. And sometimes people do give me a long list of things that they can do because they're used to that, maybe in a business sense or in work mode. They can answer all their skills. But they say, well, I'm really good at this, really good at that. But again, it's not a job interview. What are your personal qualities? What makes you tick? Who are you? What do you do each day? What are you good at? Maybe you're an excellent cook. Maybe you're great with children. Maybe you can play the piano. Maybe you can sing. Whatever it is, think about this. And then you say, make a note of this in your head. I think make a physical note of this. Write this down so you can remind yourself. Well, as your list of what you want, think about what someone might want in you. Because if you don't know, how is someone else really going to know? And I tell all my clients this, and it's one of my standard things that I say to them. And it's interesting when I do this, how they react and how they think about this. Because they don't know, they haven't given it any consideration at all. It's all about what they want. So that's one of my own mindset tips there that I would give people. Think about exactly what you have to offer. And that sort of backs up what you were saying. So that's really, really important. But I think mindset is important also when it comes to choosing and selecting a partner. Because many people make bad mistakes, choose the same partner that they've already chosen before, and then they wonder why it didn't work out. Maybe they choose a narcissist or someone that is too self-obsessed or not obsessed enough, or someone that's very lazy, and they wonder what's going on. And this is really important. They're going on to, say, a dating app, and they're swiping away, left, right, and they just don't know what to choose. So what advice would you give somebody who wants to make better choices?
Well, I think here, what is really important is to know what you want. So what type of partner are you looking for? What your ideal relationship looks like? And I'm talking about everything in detail. So, and that has to match as well your idea, your future vision for your life. So, for example, if you are somebody who is in business, who wants to go and take over the world and wants to live in a different countries and wants to run multiple businesses or anything, or wants to live in the countryside, that's what brings you joy. You want to go and spend time outdoors. You kind of have to think about that your ideal partner should match your idea, and really thinking about, well, what is it that I want from the relationship? How do I want to be treated, or how do I want to treat the other person? And really, once you create that vision for your future life and for your future partner, then it becomes really, really clear for yourself what is the right person. And you will know, because I feel that, and I think this applies to each area of our life, whether that's business, dating, our health. Once we know exactly what we want, then it becomes so much easier to ignore what is not important and what we don't want. But I think if we get into the dating without knowing exactly what we're looking for, then it's going to probably become difficult to find that right person, and you might end up dating the same person over and over again. And I feel that even though a lot of people, they tend to say, well, yes, I do know what I want in my ideal relationship or from my ideal partner. But I feel that a lot of people are being held back by what they think they can get from the relationship. And here, what I always suggest is to drop all of the things that you think are possible for you that you could get from a relationship, and really focus on, well, in my ideal world, what would that look like? And don't hold yourself back when creating that vision. Because we all come into this world shaped in a certain way. So, and that comes through our immediate family, our environment, the media that we see. And that's where we create an image of what that relationship should look like. But here, what is really important to understand and to focus on, that we have to drop all of those images or ideas, what other people tell us about the relationship and what it should be, and really asking yourself, well, what is it that I really want? And narrowing it down. And that can be describing your partner. So whether that's their physical appearance, their internal world, their hobbies, their interests, really picturing that person. And once you know what that person is and what you're looking for, then you will start to attract the people, and the person that you're truly, honestly want to have in your life.
I think that's so important to do that, because if you don't know what you want, you're never going to know when you get it. When you meet them, you're always going to be looking for something else because you aren't sure what you want. Now, one of the coaching skills that many life coaches are taught is about having SMART goals, with the S stands for specific. So how specific do you think you should be when you're creating this list of things you want from your partner?
I would say as specific, as detailed as you can possibly be. So, that could stem to eye color, hair color, basically everything. I say that in life, you get exactly what you ask for, but most often we're afraid to ask for what we truly want. And that what we truly want has to be very specific, very detailed, because there is some magic way that we attract everything around us when we describe it in detail, because that's what might happen. And this is, I would say, from my own personal experience, so from my past relationships, I know this as a fact. When I look back at what I wanted and how I described that person, I got exactly what I described, but I was a little hesitant of asking for more, asking for probably universe to provide me with that person. So I would say go as specific as you can.
So that worked for you. You made your list in the partner. You found somebody. Yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
100%.
That's great. I've covered that before, the whole law of attraction on my podcast quite a few times. And it's good to speak to somebody else about it, because it's so true. The more people I talk to who this has happened to, then the more evidence that there is that this really does work. And I firmly believe this. Everything in my life comes to me. It's not always the way I want it to come to me, but I think I'm a very lucky person. And that's because I've got a positive mindset, generally. I have bad days like everybody else does. I feel tired, I feel achy, I can't be bothered. So what? Enjoy it, embrace it, do something for yourself. That's what I'd say. It's not important to be taking steps every single day towards what you want, but as long as you're taking little steps generally and you're thinking about this, it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
I think finding me time is important for daters, particularly right now. Everyone is thinking, how do I meet somebody? And I've been so busy, which is great, helping people find other people, but they feel guilty for spending time on themselves. And I think I should be doing more, I should be doing this, but what do you think people should do now in terms of thinking about themselves, self-care? What are your tips on that?
I think self-care is very important. And from my personal experience and from all of the work that I've did with my coaching clients, I know that once people start focusing on self-care, they start to feel a little more productive and a little more rested, and that rest allows them to really helps them focus on what they really want. So having that time to stop, sometimes to think, what is it that I want, having that check-in with yourself, how your life is going, having that little revision, it's very, very important. And self-care can come in all shapes and forms, and whatever works for you. You have to focus on whatever brings you joy. So whether that is taking 2-hour bath, or taking a walk in the nature, or spending time with your friends, jumping on the Zoom and having a couple of cocktails with your friends and having that chill out session, that can be a self-care as well. But I think having that downtime and time with yourself is really important.
I should be clear to everyone listening that self-care is absolutely important, but taking action to some degree is also just as important. We're not saying spend every hour in the bath and doing nothing. You're going to end up unhappy by doing that, because you're going to end up resenting yourself and saying, well, I feel guilty all the time. We're just saying to do things that you enjoy and to take time to realize that you are the person that you love most in life. Because if we don't love ourselves, how could we expect somebody else to? So do take action, but also have a balance. Don't do too much. Don't work all the time. I know that you are a business coach, and you probably might disagree with me, but I think it's important to remember a really, really healthy work-life balance. And it's not just about working all the time. While it's important to build a future and a foundation towards that, many people do come to me, particularly women, who have spent all their lives on their career and not on their dating. So they don't know what to do. What are your thoughts on that, about the whole work-life balance? What's the right mindset for that?
Well, I think I am totally on the same page with you because I work a lot, but I take the time off, especially over the weekends. I don't touch my phone. I don't check social media. I go completely off grid and I recharge because taking the time to recharge is essential. Otherwise, I would just simply burn out. And I couldn't show up as my best self, as somebody who likes herself, as somebody who can shine that energy, and so I can impact others. And especially, I think for women who focus on their career, um, it's really important to find that balance because at the end of the day, we can ignore it, that the relationships are not important for us or that we don't have the time for it. But deep down inside, we all want to be loved, we want to be seen, we want to connect. And there is a way to have it all in life. And there is a way of having career and having a great relationship.
Hence the word balance. That's what it's about.
Yes.
It's doing
And I think,
everything.
yeah, and I think balance is balance. You have to balance it all the time because life is dynamic. Things are changing all the time. So that balance will look differently in the different stages of your life. Even, when we look at 2020, let's talk about balance. It's a completely different way of balancing our life. So now we're spending our times at home, we're working, we're cooking, we're sleeping, we're hanging out at home. So as well, we have to find another way how to balance that out, how to create a separation between work and life while we're still being in house at home. So balance is not a recipe that is, or a prescription that is always the same. It's always changing, and you have to find a way what works right now, right here, for you to balance your life.
And that's a different answer for everybody, isn't it?
100%.
It is. I have found that things have changed dramatically for my business. I've always coached people with dating face to face and also by Skype or Zoom. And I do miss the face to face element of this, not going to meet them for coffees, but it's worked just as well by doing the remote sessions as well. But I found it is harder to switch off. It was always hard to switch off because people need me all the time. They're going out on dates, they're talking to people, they're texting me. I do have a cut-off point of 7:30 at night, they can't contact me. But then I'm absolutely amazed that you can go without social media and without internet and things for a weekend. I would love to do that. I just can't. I even recharging, I find difficult. What advice would you give someone like me, who I work hard and I play hard? I would say that, but I find it sometimes hard to just to rest and to get back to how I should be the optimum version of myself. What advice would you give someone on that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, of course. Well, I would say, of course, as a business owner, as a coach, you are running your business. So I think looking at your business and what changes you can make to have a little separation between your work and your personal life. So as you said, at 7:30, that's your cutout time where the clients can contact you. And this is where you can switch into your personal life. And I would say you have to find what works for you to make that switch from work, because usually your brain is so active and you're still on it, you're still thinking about it, and you care about people and you're thinking about your clients and all of that. So you have to find a way what works for you to kind of have that break. So usually I would recommend simply taking a walk around the block. a 10-15 minute walk would really help you to have a physical separation from the space. And then just having that time to kind of thinking that, okay, my day is over, maybe having a little review of what went well today, what can I do better tomorrow, and leaving it, because to-do lists are never ending. So it's our job to decide when we stop. And I think over the weekends, if and I'm not quite sure if you're working over the weekends as well.
Oh yes, oh yes.
You do. Okay. So maybe having a one day when you can completely separate yourself from work, and having that phone hidden away, or maybe on airplane mode, or just simply somewhere. Usually, me personally, I leave it somewhere in the house. I don't even look at it. I'm tempted. I want to work all the time, but I know if I don't take that rest, then on Monday morning when I come back, I cannot show up in the same way as I could. I cannot be my best self. So sometimes, and I would say most of the times for me, is really disciplining myself, not working, because my mind could go 100 miles an hour, but I have to stop myself and really allow rest for my brain and my body. So I would say creating those rules and looking at your business, where can you create boundaries, and how you can introduce the separation. So I think that could be something useful for you.
That's really great advice. I'm not quite as bad as I made out when I was thinking about that. But I like to talk about myself on the podcast a little bit, so it becomes more real to people that I'm a real person with my own. I'm not. Everyone thinks I'm always really confident and positive, and I am mostly, but I do have the same struggles as everybody else. And you're right, I do go for a walk every afternoon, walking around the block to do that, to clear my head. And sometimes it's a run. Probably should do more runs, but never mind, that's another story. But I tell you something that I do in terms of mindset as well, making lists and things like that. And this can work for people that are also about to go on dates, because there's two different lists I tend to make sometimes in my head. This is not OCD, I should point out. This is useful skills. I don't do it all the time. First of all, what I do, usually at night time or when I'm going for a nice long walk, is I think about all the things I have in life to look forward to. And maybe it's a family occasion's coming up. It's difficult right now. Maybe it's a family meal. Maybe I'm seeing some friends. Maybe I get to go for a nice visit to the seaside. Maybe it's a good program on TV I really want to watch. And reminding myself all the lovely things that are coming into my life, so I can appreciate them when they come into this. Because living in the moment and appreciating what you have is very difficult. So I make this list sometimes, and it can go as far as 20, 30 things sometimes. And it can even be money that's coming to me. I've got a nice big payout coming to me. Great, what can I do now? And it gets you thinking about, well, I can take my family to do this, or I can get a takeaway, or I can go on holiday, whatever it might be. And it's useful to apply that if you're thinking about dating as well. Think about all the opportunities you have coming up. Maybe you've got some dates coming up. Maybe you've got some new, not events at the moment, but events are difficult. Maybe new opportunities are coming your way. Maybe you've got a chance to get your hair done, to get a new outfit, and they're still things to look forward to. And the second list I like to make is a gratitude list. And this is really, really important. I've discussed gratitude lists and vision boards and things before, but this is also something that I do. I often think about all the things I have that I'm grateful for in my life. I don't do this all the time, probably once a month, and I think about it for maybe 10 minutes. This might be my amazing family. In fact, I've got a lovely house in a village. I've got a lovely car. I've even got fast internet. I've got satellite TV, wherever it is, or whatever things I've got that I'm grateful for. And it just grounds you and reminds you that it's not all about things to worry about in life. It's about possibilities and things that are coming up. So I recommend anyone that's out there do that. Think about all the things you have to be grateful for. And now I'm talking so much, I've got a third list that I will give you as well for mindset. And this is one that I call a compliments list. Every time someone pays you a compliment, write it down. If it's a date, someone you work with, and it just reminds you before you go out on the date, before you start dating, that these people have found these things in you that you haven't always seen to yourself. and they just remind you before you go out on a date to look at this and to think, well, this is who I am. This is great. That's a lot of talking, Inga. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really great lists. And I absolutely love your third list about the compliments, because I think when it comes to dating, or when it comes to everything in our life, what other people see in us, a lot of the times we don't see it for ourselves. So it's really good to pay that attention and to grab it, because we're stuck in our own thinking. So we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day, so that they're flying by in our minds, and about 90% of them are repetitive thoughts that we had yesterday, the day before yesterday, and maybe a year ago, and maybe from a little bit longer. So grabbing those compliments, writing it down, and I'm a big fan of writing your goals down, writing your visions down, because that makes it more tangible, and it kind of helps you to solidify what you want, or maybe that compliment. And reading that to yourself, I think it's a really great advice. I absolutely love that, and I think I'm going to be stealing that list from you, and applying it into my own personal life and when working with my clients too.
Great. I'm glad that I've taught you something. So that's
Yeah.
That's good today. Well, we are coming towards the end of our podcast, and I'd love to keep talking, as I always do on my podcast, because I have some really interesting guests on here like you. Are there any other mindset hacks you can think of that might be useful to anyone who's single, who's going out on dates, or people that are just a bit confused about life at the moment?
Yeah, I think, well, the mindset hacks, I would say, it really boils down to your thoughts. So being aware of what you're thinking when you're going on a date, let's say, and just catching yourself, being aware what you're thinking at that moment. And if you're thinking more of a negative thoughts, try to replace them with more of a positive thoughts. Maybe take that list out of your compliments, and just have a look and just think that I am beautiful, or my smile is beautiful, or my eyes are beautiful, or this, and just repeat that in your mind when you are going on that date. So you are starting with positive minds, positive thoughts. And what our thoughts do, they really create the feelings inside us. They create an emotion, they generate an emotion. And when we feel a certain emotion, we act a certain way. So if you think that you're beautiful, that you look amazing, so maybe it's just like looking at yourself in the mirror before you leave the house, or at the coffee shop, or anywhere where you can see yourself, just appreciating and giving yourself compliments of how you look. Well, I look great, or I look great in these jeans, or anything. Just saying to yourself what you like about yourself. And that will help you to feel more confident and more present, and show up with the great energy for your date.
I love that. It's all about positive reinforcement, because the
Yes.
brain can't tell the difference between real and imagined events. So if you tell yourself
Yes.
good stuff, eventually you're going to believe it, and you're going to become that person. I think fake it till you make it to some degree. If you're not confident, pretend you're confident, and your body won't know the difference, and you can go out there and have really happy, successful dates. When you're allowed to do that, depending what time I release this podcast, whether it's in lockdown, in a pandemic, in Christmas, who knows? But opportunities are there. Just be out there, embrace yourself, and try and be positive. It's not always easy, but remember, everyone's going through difficult times, and just try and focus on all the good stuff. Inga, thank you so much for joining me. That's been wonderful. If somebody wanted to find you and to know more about you and your own podcast and your own coaching, how would they do that?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. It has been a true pleasure and honor to talk to you and to connect with your audience. And if some of your listeners would like to connect with me, they can do that on social media. So they can simply find me at Inga Pakal. So that's INGAPAKAL, or simply visit my website, which would be www.ingapakalniskyte.com.
You better spell that for us again.
Sure. So that would be INGAPAKALNISKYTE.com.
Fantastic. Where are you from, Inga? Where's your accent from?
Originally, I'm from Lithuania, and my accent, I have no idea where it's from. I think I'm picking up more of American/Canadian accents. So yeah, that's I think where my accent comes from.
No, because I used to be an actor, so I love accents. I can normally tell, but I can't tell with you. Whereabouts are you in London now? I thought you were in the UK. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in London, so I'm in West London, close by to Notting Hill.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, I thought maybe you're in America now and I've got you out of bed early, but or late, whatever the time might be. Thank you again, Inga. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope my listeners do come and find you, follow you, and find out more about you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Remember, have a great mindset, be positive, and thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespreece.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.